What's going on, friends? It's your main man Murder, back with you. Today we are looking at the new alternative line of Soviet destroyers. Now, some of you guys have probably already pulled some of these bad boys out of the Soviet destroyer big crates that just became available. But if you haven't, and you just want to know what it is that you're bumping up against out there on the open water, stick with me here, and I will be jumping into some commander builds that I recommend, as well as some gameplay that feature the strengths and weaknesses of this new Russian line. Let's jump into it. Let's start with the Tier 4 Soobrazitelny, which I will now be referring to as the Soob, only because it rhymes with noob. I went with the Trubetskoy build, and I'm going to tell you why. He's got the base trait, of course, of the Battle Rages on, which is going to improve the incoming damage to your destroyer to the tune of maximum of 8%. Observant Rage is going to give you the enhanced reload time of those guns, along with improving the torpedo detectability range by 15%. And then the rudder shift, of course, is taking a little hit, but it's a Soviet destroyer, so you're kind of used to that already anyway. Took with Look at Me Now to improve the detectability range, and Twist and Track. Very, very important that you use Twist and Track and not Perceptive. You're still going to get that locating mechanism, which is so important in Soviet destroyers, but you're also going to get the improvement on the traverse speed of these guns. And I'm going to show you why that's so valuable and almost necessary, especially on this Tier 4 ship. Smoke on the Water, and Unstoppable, of course, to keep you moving, even once you get banged up a little bit. I added Splendento as an inspiration to again assist with improving the traverse speed of those guns. Now, when Splendento's maxed, you can increase that turn time by 2 seconds. So I've got a little work to do there to buff up my Splendento, but it's still worth it at 1.3 seconds. Eric Bay, again, to improve the detectability, 4.75 seconds 4.75% right now, which is valuable because these boats are a lot more torpy than the original Russian line. Once you add the upgrade of torpedoes, your torp range goes up to 7 kilometers. All of a sudden, these Russian DDs get real nice and torpy. You can actually use them. Also went with Aiming Systems Mod 1 in my 1 mod slot that I get. And the stats look like this. Hit points 11,300. Artillery, 130 millimeter guns. You get 4 of them with a reload time of 6.4 seconds. Now this 180 degree turn time, I've buffed twice. I buffed it with Twist and Track, and I buffed it with Splendento, and I've got it down to 16.7 seconds. 16.7 seconds. If I take those off, this goes up to almost 30 second traverse time. It's unbearably slow. So buffing those, especially on this Tier 4 ship, going to be extremely valuable. Now, HE shells, 1900 max damage at a 9% fire setting chance rate, and AP shell max damage, 2500. Torpedoes, you get 2 racks of 3, again at 7 kilometers, dealing 15,100 max damage, and a respectable speed of 65 knots. AA defense of 21. That's going to knock down a few planes here and there. Maneuverability, again, rudder shift time, 6.1 seconds. Not fantastic, but certainly workable. And a decent max speed of 36.5 knots. Concealment, 5.6 kilometers. Not the best by any means at Tier 4, but you are going to be able to maintain concealment for those 7 kilometer torps for those really crucial moments towards the middle or end of a battle where you have to get some torps on these battleships and cruisers and get them on from concealment. So again, I highly recommend keeping Bay on there and doing what you can to keep your concealment below 7 kilometers. The Tier 5 Biovoy. This is where you're going to start to see this alternate line really start to separate itself from the first line of Soviet DDs. Now, when I jump into let's look at the upgrades first. You get 2 slots here for mods, aiming systems mod 1 and steering gears mod 2 is ultimately what I chose to go with here. Again, on your stats, survivability, 15,500, certainly workable for Tier 5. Artillery, you get the same 4 guns, 130 millimeter guns, with a reload time of 6.4 seconds. The 180-degree turn time now is down to 12.4 seconds. So I've got a little bit of room to give there. I'm actually going to work to get my reload time down here, which I'll show you here in just a second. Torpedoes, again, 2 racks at 3, max damage of 15,100, torp range of 7 kilometers with a speed of 65 knots. Decent reload time of 60 seconds as well. AA defense dips a little bit to 20, but you're still banging a few fighter squadrons out of the sky. So that's good stuff. Maneuverability, 4.3 second rudder shift here with a 37 knot mat speed. And concealment bumped up a little bit to 5.9 kilometers. So what I'm going to recommend that you do here on the Biovoy is switch your Trebetskoy, because look at this. On the Nevny, its tech tree counterpart, your reload on those guns is 4.8 seconds. So to fix that, we're going to switch out our inspiration on Trebetskoy. We're going to switch out our Splendento for our good friend Vincent Mordoff. What he's going to do is enhance the reload time of those guns to the tune of, right now, 5.4 seconds. To max him out, gets it up to a 6% reduction. Why that's valuable is, again, you're going to get that reload time down to 6.1 seconds. I can knock a half second off on my reload time. I'm going to take that every day of the week. And I didn't really lose that much on turret turn time. 13.6 seconds, still workable. So that's the Biovoy. Now I do want to spend a little more time talking about the Kiev, the Tier 6 alternate line Russian DD. This guy here gets 3 mod slots. Again, went with aiming systems mod 1, steering gears mod 2, and I went with the concealment system mod 1 for slot 3. Now, the first thing I want to point out is that this ship comes with 2 heals. You're going to see some players mess around with Makarov builds to get a 3rd heal. I don't think it's that valuable, and I'll tell you why. The maximum amount of health that you can get off of one of these heals is about 2,700. On average, that number is going to be a little bit closer to about 1,500, maybe 1,700 tops. So that ends up being about 10 to 15% of your total health. I don't think it's worth it for a 3rd heal to lose a lot of the other great things that you're getting from Trebetskoy, because your survivability is so low on this ship. Your hit points start at 13,500. That's a problem when you see that you're coming up against a lot of other real beefy hit points in other destroyer lines. Kid, really strong. Z35, you can get the max hit points on a Z35 up to about 21,000, 22,000 with the Sims inspiration. So this is a liability. We have to address it, and I'll do that in just a second here. But before we do that, let's talk about the artillery. You've still got Actually, let's fix the sims here. So I'm going to switch out my inspiration again by taking Mordov off and adding sims. Go ahead and boost that so you can see the differences immediately. Now our health goes up to 15,700. Not fantastic, but a heck of a lot better than 13.5. So we lost a little bit of reload time, but our guns are still reloading at 6.9 seconds. Definitely slower than what you're going to get out of the Minsk, which is 4.8 seconds. But you're getting a lot better torpedoes. So to finish up the artillery stats here, a 3x2 turret arrangement, 4 guns up front, 2 in the back. You also get some really cool secondaries out of this ship, which certainly aren't going to be deciding a lot of battles for you. But when you're in close, doing 1v1s against other destroyers, every little bit of damage you can chip away on them helps. Torpedoes, this is where trading that reload time is so worth it. You now have 8-kilometer torps on this thing, moving 65 knots, doing 15,100 max damage, 80-second reload time, but you're getting 2 racks of 5 torps. In the gameplay that I'm going to share with you here in just a second, you're going to see how valuable those torpedoes are. AA defense jumps up to 24. I've played probably 30, 40, maybe 50 games in the Kiev so far. This AA will take some planes down for sure. I think the most planes I've knocked down now so far is about 15 or 16. So that's, of course, heavy targeting from carriers, but I'm kind of used to it. So not out of the normal for me to be knocking down 8 to 10 planes per game in carrier games in the Kiev. Maneuverability, 38 knots, 4.3 second rudder shift, and concealment stays at a respectable 5.8. Again, I can be firing torpedoes from concealment in the Kiev, and that is a game changer for Soviet destroyers. So for those of you out there that love German, Japanese, British, even American destroyers, French DDs too, and firing torps from concealment, you can now do that quite easily with this new line of Russian destroyers. So let's jump into some gameplay and I will show you exactly what that looks like. So here we are on the sea cap of Sleeping Giant, and you'll see that we've got 3 destroyers apiece. The enemy's got 1 cruiser in the form of a Budiani and a handful of battleships. Now, because I'm out here on the right flank, I am going to do my part in spotting for my teammates, and I'm going to push out wide here. Hopefully to get some good spots in, but also to identify this destroyer that's likely in front of me as quickly as possible. Now, this is a great example of how you can use twist and track to get some torps out in front of you on a target well before it's even spotted. Now, I've also identified that I'm located here, so he knows where I am. I roughly know where he is, and I'm betting that he's roughly riding a similar, if not identical, trajectory and mirroring my movement on the north side of the map. So I'm expecting him to pop out here pretty quickly, even though I haven't actually spotted him yet. Now you're going to notice, as I'm preparing to release these 2 racks of torpedoes, that the release angles on these torps is just fine. Certainly isn't limited in any way, shape, or form. I'm also hoping to get a couple of these battleships spotted. Lickety split. I know my friends behind me are really itching for something to shoot at, and it is a destroyer's main responsibility to be spotting enemy ships as soon as possible. So let's see if I can do that while I drop the torps. Excellent. Here comes the DD. Right on time. I'm going to go ahead and start featuring these Soviet 130s. You'll also notice my secondaries popping off here a little bit. Ooh la la. Look at them go. I'm probably going to get a torp here. And hopefully I'll be able to use his smoke for concealment. Yep. Okay, one down. I'm going to push up ahead here and keep these guys spotted for my friends. Now I'm doing some pretty severe turns here, just to show you this turning radius. Certainly feels average at best. I wouldn't say it's super shifty. I wouldn't say it's clunky. Let's see if I can push up here through this cap. Start capping Charlie while still spotting these battleships for my teammates. Now I do want to be mindful that Budiani up there, because he does have a decent little radar on him that I do not want picking me up. So I'm going to touch this cap and roll the dice here a little bit by pushing forward. There's a chance he might radar me here, but it's a chance that in this case I'm somewhat willing to take. But because I have visibility on this Budiani right now, I know that his radar detectability range of 8.1 kilometers isn't going to be able to reach me if he fires that thing up. So I feel confident in pushing forward here. What I'm really trying to accomplish is getting a few racks of torps off on these battleships before I head back towards mid. Because they're backing up, I'm not sure that I'm going to have the torpedo distance to be able to do it, but I'm going to get up as close to the front of the cap here as I possibly can before I kind of give up on that part of my operation. All the while, of course, staying in the capture area so I can make sure that I secure the Charlie cap for my team. We're already down the B cap and the A cap. I need to get over here and help this Mahan, who's already dead, to this Jervis over here. Now this is a really good time to point out the importance of getting your aiming reticle on enemy destroyers whenever they pop up. I want to know exactly how much health that guy has before I enter this engagement, because if he's at full health, I'm going to approach it a lot differently than if he's at half health or he's just a one-shot. So let's see what happens as I move into the middle here, and it looks like we've got another battleship that's in the vicinity, so wish me luck. So I noticed that that Jervis had just about half, maybe a little less than half health before he disappeared off of my detectability. Also noticed that the Tennessee that I'm coming up on is pretty darn full on health. So my goal here is to drop a couple racks of torps off on this Tennessee, hopefully hurt him or sink him, and then engage with this Jervis as quickly as possible. If I was a betting man, which I don't really have to be because I have twist and track, I would assume that he's going to be kind of heading over to that A cap to try to support the Fubuki that he has in there. But first things first, let's go ahead and get some torpedoes off on this Tennessee. And while I'm doing this, I do want to gauge his distance and direction. It does look like he's kind of roaming this area, maybe looking for a shot into Charlie, maybe waiting for an idiot like me to come rolling through here by himself. And there's the Jervis. So I'm going to try to get off one shot here, and I'm going to go ahead and pop my smoke before the Tennessee starts taking big chunks out of me. It's a good chance he's got AP loaded right now. At least I'm hoping so. Yeah, there's an AP shell coming in there off my nose. Now, I'm in smoke, but I don't feel too comfortable in here because that Jervis had a good angle on me. He's probably dropping torps, but he's getting low on health. So I'm going to fire once or twice here from concealment before I push out. I'm going to need to get out of this smoke so I can get him spotted up again. I also don't want him pushing up on me with that sonar and spotting me in my smoke where I can't shoot at him. So I'm putting myself in a tough spot here. I'm hoping to kill this Jervis and then turn around to get back into my smoke because this Tennessee is pushing hard now. Now I'm going to take some hits here. And he's got HE loaded now. He's taking big chunks. I want to point out here that if I wasn't running Sims as an inspiration, I'd be dead. So that extra 2,300 health came in real handy there. And I went ahead and used to heal. I'm going to go ahead and drop a few more torps here on this Tennessee, just in case he turns in. He likely won't, but I got behind my smoke line, so I'm safe here. Now I'm noticing that my good friends over in Alpha were able to take care of that Fubuki, which is fantastic. We've got all 3 of these enemy destroyers off the board. And now we can get down to the business of starting to chunk some big damage off of these battleships. All the while keeping an eye on where that Budiani is. I don't want him radaring me and ending my game early. So here we are. Positioned between ourselves and this Tennessee is this great island that I love to use on Sleeping Giant, because you can shoot over it, but you still maintain concealment. And you can see pretty easily over it as well. So I'm going to do what I can to slowly chisel away at his health bar. Hopefully set a few fires here. And survey the mini-map. Where are the enemy battleships? Where are they positioned? Where are they probably going to be moving in? What do we have to do to wrap up a W here? Because this Tennessee is good as dead as far as I'm concerned. He's going to be going pretty quick here. So you're going to catch me look back over my shoulder here at this Nelson. And what I'm trying to do here is see if I fire again, if he's going to spot me or not. Because I know this Tennessee won't. But that Nelson might if he keeps charging towards Charlie. So I'm going to maybe steal one extra little cheap shot here. Nope, I can't now because I've moved in too far. Well, we've got him on fire. We've got some friends popping on him. And it looks like he's almost done. There he goes. Okay, so we've got a nag out there. We've got the Nelson figuring out how she wants to move into mid. And with the time left on the clock and the scoreboard being what it is, we're moving into kind of cap defend. Make sure that we're racking up these points with the extra caps that we're holding right now. I'm going to go ahead and drop a few racks in on this Nelson. Again, really nice 8-kilometer torps, 2 racks of 5. The Kiev's got those torps going on for her. Let's take a swing back down south here. See how things are looking with this Budiani. Because I'm 1 of 2 destroyers left on the board, I want to make sure that I'm A, keeping as many things spotted as I can for my teammates. I'm getting as many torps as I can on these battleships that are moving in. There's one on the Nelson. All the while, staying away from that gosh darn Budiani radar. Because if he tees me up, it's going to be a short trip back to port. So I'm noticing that we've got a Scharnhorst that just basically gave herself away to a queen and a nag up there on the north side of the map. I'm assuming that was supposed to be a torpedo approach at some point, but obviously it didn't work out for him. I've got a Warspite with me down here. Let's see if we can't engage this Baron. I'm going to get a few more sets out here into this gap. Hopefully she comes right in. That Warspite off my starboard side is running basically broadside to her, so hopefully she'll try to take advantage of that and walk into my torpedo wall here. Also waiting for that Budiani to pop up down here somewhere. I'm going to circle back. I don't need to get too close. Okay, this Warspite gets a nice crack on the Baron. And I'm probably going to get at least one of these here. Yep, and there's the Budiani. So I'm going to go ahead and watch this torp hit and then mark up this Budiani so my Warspite companion knows that that's what he needs to be prioritizing. And it looks like my friend is going to go ahead and beach himself there against that island, just perfectly broadside in front of the Baron. So, my lord. Okay. Looks like we're going to have to put on our carry pants for this one. The goal here now is really to just continue to survey the mid. Keep as many things spotted as possible. Go ahead and continue to use these great Kiev torpedoes to plug up these gaps that are separating the C cap from the B cap. I've got this other destroyer on my team here that's kind of doing the same thing, but at a slightly riskier distance. Let's see if we can't get a few on this Nelson. Hopefully collectively we can create a little web here. Web of destruction, if you will. You got a few for him too, bud? How's our war spite doing? Still cranking away on the Baron. Yeah, my friend smoked up there, and I'm spotted. So I'm going to go ahead and pop my other smoke. This Baron got within spotting range here. But that's alright. That's why the good Lord had invented smokes. Now I might be able to get a shot on this Baron. I know I'm outside of that Budiani's radar distance there. And the war spite got him. Good stuff. This Nelson's getting real low. Looks like he took a few from my destroyer friend. But he is really close there. Not sure why my compadre felt so inclined to take such an aggressive position, but que sera, sera. It's all tied up. We're winning on points. Things are looking pretty darn good. Baron's off the board. Oh no. This New Mexico is putting himself in a pretty bad spot here. Yep. Homeboy rolled right into a crossfire. Viva New Mexico! You know, it's okay. As long as we keep our other destroyer and these two caps, we should have enough time and enough points to seal the victory here. I'm going to go ahead and drop a few sets on the nag. Oh, fantastic. Well, let's look at the time, friends. We've got a minute left. This is going to be my last set of torps, regardless. Thank God they're Kiev torps and not Minsk torps, because I'd have to blow my concealment to get those 4-kilometer Minsk torps anywhere near these battleships. So I am living on a prayer, as Bon Jovi once said. Prayer answered. 30 seconds left. Here comes the Budiani, trying to get that radar on me. No way, Jose. I am running like smoking oak. And that should seal the dub. So there you go, friends. That's the Kiev for you. She plays a little unique because of her limited health pool. But besides that, she's a fine and seaworthy vessel. I hope you've enjoyed the video today. Feel free to like and subscribe for future content. I also stream on both Twitch and YouTube, so feel free to stop on by and say hi, and we can have a chat on just about anything warships related. Until then, this is Captain Murder saying we'll see you on the seas.